Hey, wonderful lotuses. So, today's energy, today's transmission is all about Blue Monkey. And Blue Monkey is totally my thing because as a red dragon, it is my challenge that becomes my focus. And this would be quite a good point to just share a little bit about my journey with that. So, Blue Monkey is the child being a child. Blue Monkey is the divine child. And if this is the galactic Mayan calendar, this is what it actually looks like. You can see all of the signs here and all of the numbers. So each of the days that are in your manual correlate to this. So you'll see, move that down. I have a piece of blue tack that I move each day. Oops, where are we? We're here. Here we go. So that's where we are today. But the Blue Monkey wave spell, the 13-day process of Blue Monkey, is right in the middle. So if we see this as, this is our human being evolutionary journey. And slap bang in the middle of it is Blue Monkey. Slap bang in the middle of all of the things that we do is our inner child. Slap bang in the middle of all of the trauma, of all of the evolutionary expansion, of all of the work, of all of it. The core where we began was that child within us, and everything that's come after that has come after that, but still in the centre of that is our child. And my child, as most of our children on this path, had a hard time, really, really hard time. And it's been interesting because I've always been drawn to work with children, and I do a lot of things with children, and I love children. And there's an element of throughout all of the struggles that I've been through within my life, connecting to children has been, such a medicine because they get it. Children are able to be present. Children are pure. Children are closer to spirit. Children are talking to angels all the time. Children are the least corrupted and least conditioned members of our society. And there's something in that, and the whole thing with my red dragon code and my shadow being Blue Monkey, the tendency with that is to take everything so seriously and for everything to be quite heavy. And there was a long time, in my young adult life, and I'm still a young adult, but in my teenage years where everything was really, really serious. And it's interesting that as I've kind of gone on this journey, all of a sudden, in the past few years, my overwhelming desire to save children has subsided, but also my ability to play has opened up. And that's the thing that I want to talk about really within this transmission, is play. So on my background professionally, my work with children has been something called playwork, and playwork is, it spans through all of the ages, and it's about facilitating free action, because play is what children do when they're not being told what to do. And in our culture now, the opportunity for that is becoming less and less and less. This idea of free action, intrinsically motivated action, something that, I really want to do that, is really limited. And, that's not just for children. This is for all of us. So the idea of playwork as a profession is to create spaces and environments where young people can choose what they interact with. And something, called an adventure playground, which is basically a big scrapyard where children can take loads of risks. They can start fires, they can use hammers, they can use nails, and it's like, do you know what? We know that within you, you have got the capacity and the capability to be responsible. So we're going to give you the opportunity to do that, as opposed to the cotton wool culture. Now, something that I feel most probably at some point in my life I will write, and it's a concept that I've explored quite a lot, is this idea of the playwork approach to managing the inner child. So within us, we have this child who maybe didn't feel heard, maybe was really hurt. And our role as the grown-up, as the play worker, as the parent, as the self of our system, is to really care and nurture, that care for and nurture that child within us. And, within all of my studies around playwork theory and practice, I've realised for myself that the best way that I can support my inner child is to come from a space of horizontal. That's the horizontal approach, is the terminology that we use within playwork, and that's about I'm not being the grown-up and you're the child, and we've got this really weird, unequal power distribution between that. It's oh, hi, human being, I'm going to meet you where you are because I'm no better than you. And we interact from there, and then all of a sudden, this ability to create a relationship unfolds. And it's the same for the children within us. So instead of going in and being like, you need to grow up, or you need to heal, or you need to be better, it's like, no, like, what does your inner child actually want to experience? Do you need to take yourself off for the day into the woods and pick leaves? We don't really have any leaves in the UK at the moment, but the thing that came to me last night for a little bit of homework for you, which I might touch on again in a little while, is something that I loved doing when I was a kid. So your homework, part one of your homework, there may be more to come, I don't know what's going to come through, but part one is to get some fruit or root vegetables, probably potatoes, cut them up into shapes and just do some stamper pin art with them. Because another element of this whole thing of play is getting it right and wrong. That doesn't exist within a play space. And one of the things that keeps us away from our creativity and our ability to birth our heart's desire and our ability to be in flow is this notion that we're going to get it wrong. Creativity is not just something that's birthed on a page. Creativity is our lives. We are the creators. But more often than not, we limit ourselves from creating and going through the creative process because we're scared of getting it wrong. Because we most probably went to an institution when we were a child that taught us that there is a right and a wrong way to do things. So dropping into this play space again means, to allow ourselves the opportunity to be in process, always in process. It's not ever, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to play with it. I'm going to see what happens. Play with this idea of co-creation. Presently, like myself, in the past 24 hours, I've had a really challenging journey. Because someone that I love is really not well, and it's thrown into question everything that I thought that I was doing. And an element of what's been difficult about that has been this like rigid, fixed, this is what's going to happen perspective that I've been looking at, as opposed to a play-based approach, which flips it on its head, which is I'm just going with what's here now, and I'm going to play with it until I see kind of what comes from it. But it's the journey of the playing, it's the journey of the creativity, as opposed to, right, I'm going to create that thing and then I'm going to mark it, I'm going to judge it, I'm going to see if it's good enough. Really about dissolving that and letting it go. So when we are interacting with our inner children, this is part 2 of your homework. And this is the real bit of your homework. To foster some kind of a communication with your inner child, and give it what it needs. And that might mean you sit on the sofa and you watch a film that you loved when you were a kid with a blanket and a hot water bottle. It might be that you go on a big grand adventure and you call for all your mates and you go on a big wander up a mountain or something. There's so many different things because we are all so different, but that child within us experienced a lot within our personal sphere of whatever cards we chose to be dealt this lifetime. But also, you know, this whole idea of the power distribution between adults and children, and how that kind of forced us into, well, I want to be an adult, I want to be a grown-up, because when I'm an adult I can be free to make my own choices. When I'm an adult, blah blah blah. So that meant this child within us was silenced, and like, oh, well, you're not really benefiting me to get to where I want to be in society, to get to be a respected human being. So I'm sorry, you've just kind of got to stay over there, and your wants and needs and desires aren't really that important, because I need to be a grown-up, because when I'm a grown-up, then I can do X, Y, Z. So we need to go back to that child within us. We need to be the play worker of our inner child and say, you know, dude, what's going on for you? What do you need? And all of these times where, you know, we might be experiencing addictions or coping mechanisms. Generally, that's because that child within us is having a hard time, you know, and had to pick up all of these little behaviours along the way in order to not have to feel unheard or in pain. So with our journey, you know, like as I was speaking about in the last transmission, when it comes to sort of this Kundalini energy and all of this super serious stuff, and we know that we're here for a huge reason, you know, for our personal sphere of transformation, which impacts the external sphere of transformation. But that can come with such heaviness, that can come with such a challenging, I have to be the warrior, I have to be strong, I have to be doom, I have to take it all really seriously. But actually, can we soften into it? You know, can we remember the way that we used to perceive this sphere of reality? Because it was just as magical, if not more so. But we navigated it with an ease and with a grace, and you know, we trusted the moment, we trusted spirit. You know, there was such an innocence, and you know, maybe we'll never get back to that level of innocence, but a part of us is still there. So it's not necessarily about going backward, it's about opening that channel so that child within us can come into our life now, can bring back that magic and that ease and that grace and that ability to communicate as well. You know, that's something that with all of my work with children I really admire and I'm inspired by, and that might be because of my own journey of learning to be able to communicate. But they just tell you what they need, and sometimes that might be through having a tantrum, and you know, but there's an ability to be like, that feels good for me, or that doesn't feel good for me, and I'm going to tell you about it without shame, without reproaching myself. I'm just going to be like, no, or yes, and that's it. And it's cool. We don't judge them for it. It's like, oh yeah, they're a child just expressing the needs. So as well, you know, this idea of the playfulness and bringing the monkey magic back for our interactions with other people as well, and being like, you know, supporting us to have that compassion and that space to be like, I totally respect this is where you're at and this is what you need, and that's okay. So yeah, so the energy of Blue Monkey and the importance of playfulness is something that I'm very, very passionate about. And you know, as I say with my Red Dragon code, as with everybody's glyph, you know, when you've got the 4 pictures, you have a shadow that turns into your gift. And the more that we transform our shadow, so the more that I've kind of done a lot of work with letting go of needing to be super duper serious and, you know, stepping back into my heart, because that's another element of, you know, Blue Monkey energy and the inner child. It's our heart, you know, it's the start of it all, the intelligence within it all, and everything from there, you know, expands. And as we kind of drop back into that space, there is an innocence and a magic and a beauty that comes from that space. And, you know, like I say, as I've kind of dissolved and dissolved and dissolved, and I'm still totally in that process, and I will always be in that process, and that's totally cool as well. But as that's kind of, it's now become my gift, the children that I come into contact with on any any space, I buzz off, and they buzz off me as well, and it's like I know that that's my part of my thing to bring to the world. But then this idea as well, of not jumping to the future with it and being like, right, this is therefore what I need to create. It's like, how do I playfully want to feel in this moment, and what am I going to do about it? Right now, right here and now, how can I be playful? How can I have fun? And like I said, that's your homework, just to really grid in and do at least one thing today for your inner child. Do one thing. Figure out what it is, and don't go in there with this like adult brain of, I think a child might enjoy that, so I'm going to get out my paintbrushes. It's like, no, go into a meditation, have a chat with them, and see what they want to do, and then do it. No matter what that is, no matter how much it goes against what you think you should be doing as well. That's another big element of this. It's like, say I want to eat ice cream. I don't want to eat ice cream. Eat the freaking ice cream, yeah? No matter what it is, like, make a pact and prove to them, yeah, I'm still totally here with you, and I'll do whatever it is that you fancy doing today. And just have that time of nurturing and loving and supporting and being a play worker, being, the safe adult for your inner child. Because that's another element of play work as well. It's like, it's being the safe adult, it's being the trustworthy big person that's not going to betray them, that's not going to belittle them, that's not going to tell them to be anything other than what they are, because what they are is absolutely perfect. What your inner child is, who your inner child is perfect, and they need to be loved exactly where they are, So have a wonderful, wonderful time with your inner child, and have a wonderful day of play and of magic. And just remember, throughout all of this stuff that we do, no matter how deep we go, no matter how many edges we meet, truly who we are within is a child. That's what is in the centre of us. And that part of us, as we reclaim that, makes this whole navigation of the gunkiness a very different experience. And we really need to bring that wonderful joy back into the societies that we live in. The super seriousness that gets conditioned out of us in order to be a flipping robotic human being that's going to be a cog in the system and all that stuff. If that cog in the system is a playful little person that's messing about all the time and having a giggle, then all of a sudden all of those other cogs around it are like, how it was when you were in a classroom as a child? We've got to bring that back, So yeah, again, sending you loads of love, and I look forward to connecting with you all again very soon. Mwah.